Yeah, sure. Hey guys, I'm Stephy Steph, and this is Bobby, and we are doing a episode of Motorcycle Diaries.
That's right, we're on the motorcycles. You're on your Ducati, the OG, the original Ducati. What's special about your Ducati?
Got a Termi.
Yeah, it does. Got a fancy little exhaust on. I'm on the BMW GS. Listen, Steph, it is the last day of 2023, and we had one of our viewers I put something out there and said, what are you going to try to do in 2024? And they said they want to stop worrying about having stuff. How do you wrap your mind around that? Is that something you struggle with, or have you figured that out?
Yeah, I definitely haven't figured it out yet. I think having some stuff matters.
Yeah. We found that out on many of our adventures. Peru comes to mind about having a shelter and food is good.
Go up here.
But beyond we're in East Dallas here. We're in is this Bishop Arts District that we're at?
Yeah, this is Bishop Arts.
There's usually a lot of traffic, which watch no advance green here.
Yeah.
Just tell me when you're going to go. So I agree, having some stuff. I got to a point in my life. Roger. I got to a point in my life. I had too much stuff, and I really thought stuff would bring me joy. And the more stuff I got, the more complicated my life became. Have you
stopping?
Yeah, and just watch girl, pedestrian in front, pedestrian in front. All right. It's wonderful communicating with motorcycle helmets whilst motorcycling. It's actually, I can't imagine people motorcycling in a group without having comms. So, are you at the point where you've had too much stuff that cluttered your life, or you do well?
No, I'm at the point where I want more stuff. I'm not on the mountain looking down, kind of on past experiences. For me, I'm looking ahead, and I'm at a spot in my life where I'm wanting to acquire specific things.
Okay. Do you want to talk about it?
Would complicate your life. No, not necessarily. I don't.
Okay.
I think they're pretty standard things.
Yeah.
For me, they're just things that I want in life in general. And when you're talking about when's enough, well, that's $1 million question. If someone tells you X is enough, but you've always wanted Y, then maybe you've got to have Y before you can realize that, hey, I did or didn't need it.
Yeah. We just drove past a Porsche 911 for my entire life. Well, from the age of 12 on. I've wanted a Porsche 911, and I've never had one. And for a variety of reasons, I didn't do it. I don't know if that's good or bad. I had a kind of a fancier car that complicated my life, and it actually took away joy. And I actually got rid of it because of that reason. Have you ever really wanted something and you got it and you're like, well, that was dumb?
I just don't think I've had enough years under the belt to really experience that. I'm only 3.5, 4 years out into practice, and, I've paid off my student loans. I've been able to travel a lot, so definitely wrapping up the experiences. My big purchases have been a place to live, this motorcycle, and a Jeep Rubicon, so.
Jeep life.
Yeah, I think I'm doing okay. But I will say, you really don't know what you want or you need and you don't need unless you have experience in it somehow, or your friend did, or.
You know what? I was just going to say, you're very much an experiential learner, right?
Yeah.
I don't think I'm that way. I really want to learn about it in a book and then make a decision, and then I get it, and I'm like, well, here's your favorite taqueria right here.
I think part of my being an experiential learner is just I think about the world so differently than most people, and your standard advice will work for your standard human who thinks about life in a standard way. But when you really have an odd view of the world and of kind of, where you want your life to go, and it's just so different, I think you're almost at a disadvantage because you kind of have to be an experiential learner, because you stand to not be, fulfilled with standard advice.
There was some quote from the TV show The Office. One of the guys is like, wouldn't it be awesome if you knew these were the good old days when they were the good old days? Does that tie in at all? Or?
Not really.
Well, I just wanted to say that quote.
You know?
Well, except that, as I heard you talk there, sometimes you don't realize what you've got until it's gone.
Yeah, no, that's exactly an experiential learner. It's just tough because if you allow a lack of certain experiences to torment you, it's really a tough go. And you also have to think of kind of what you have to really, I think you got to have somewhat of a grasp on who you are and where you want to go in life. And, the standard advice is not one size fits all. For me, that couldn't even be more true.
Well, and when I hear you say that, understanding yourself, that's really hard because sometimes you just don't get that right. And then understanding where you want to go, a lot of times that can be wrong too. How many times have we kind of looked at something and went, oh man, I really want to do this, and you do it and you go, ay.
But what I can say though is what I have learned is that indecision is a decision.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
And even though you may make the wrong choice, I think going forward, I think it's going to be easier for me going forward in big decisions to make the wrong choice, but to make a conscious choice about it, than to stand in the wake of indecision.
Yeah, I love what you say there, and that's actually one of my favorite quotes. And we will never have 100% of the information. And if it's a kind of a low-risk decision that, you can make it without having a whole lot. These people are kind of funny. They're just looking at our motorcycle going, what on earth is going on there? Have you gotten better at making decisions more quickly?
No, but I've gotten more fed up with the experience of indecision and the torment that comes with that. You'd almost rather just face the consequences of a bad one than sit there in torment and indecisiveness.
Yeah, and I've been at a point in my life where I would just let decisions ruminate, and then I'd catastrophize kind of the bad outcomes.
Yeah, you're trying to make a perfect decision.
Yeah.
That's going to be great for you or for people around you, and you're not playing with all the marbles. You just don't. There's a lot of things, I think you call them unknowns, that will always complicate the consequences of that decision. So for me, what I have learned is there is something to looking at a decision to be made and giving it an appropriate amount of time, but realizing, man, you are going to waste, years of your life in torment because you're holding out for the perfect moment or the perfect setup. You can't.
Well, and on that, what's the cost? There is a cost. There's a cost to indecision. There's a cost to decisions. You do X, the cost is Y, and just figuring that out. And maybe to wrap a bow on it, does jealousy or comparison kind of, I look at that and say, man, that's probably the biggest challenge there that you see.
I think it's really hard to not compare yourself to others.
Yeah.
I'm reading a book on kind of evolution of our species, and it's just
probably how we survived, right?
Competition happens everywhere, whether you want it to or not.
Yeah.
And nature is competition.
Yeah.
But I would say the thing that makes us most human is our ability to be collegial and altruistic, and what's advanced our evolution quicker beyond the pace that competition will advance it is collaboration. And jealousy dismantles your ability to collaborate with others. And so even though jealousy is born out of something very natural, such as competition or kind of thinking like, and actually I would say jealousy is a very human thing because you have to be aware to be jealous of somebody.
Yeah.
And if you don't have awareness, you're probably not going to be jealous.
Yeah. I agree with that. And, it's some of that survival, but I guess you look at it and say, is this taken away from my life?
And oddly enough, a lot of the competitive mechanisms in nature are subconscious.
Yeah.
They're at the cellular level. And you look at it and you're like, wow, cells they're not aware that they're competing. They just see a problem and they're trying to adapt or evolve in lockstep in order to survive.
Well, and you look at an extreme example, fasting. The body fasts. You certainly are going to have all the cells kind of in competition for...
And so when I look at, when you start to look at jealousy and kind of why you're jealous and the etiology of it, you can look at one of the etiological factors is the competitive, sense of it all. You want to compete to win, and that is sometimes a zero-sum game, because if you're trying to survive, you better compete. But if you're trying to thrive, you need to learn to collaborate.
Yeah.
And there's a difference.
Yeah. Well, I think it's hard not to want a whole lot of stuff, and stuff will complicate your life. That's what I've learned. You talked about you're still in kind of the accumulating experience mode, and I'm in the mode of saying, gosh, I accumulated a bunch of stuff, and there's a cautionary tale there for sure. Well, anything else to end us off, Steph?
Man, I don't know. That's what I got.
And I guess life's just an experience, and you just got to get in there, figure it out, do an assessment. One of the things I love, this is December 31st right now, 2023. I love a year end to kind of look back and say, what did I do well? What do I want to change? Maybe that's the next episode. It's a time for reflection. All right, guys. Well, listen, thanks for joining us. If you like what we're talking about, hit the subscribe. Bye.